gamers? This is NGG here with another review. This time it is for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. This is going to be an older review, but I've been waiting for my co-host who we have here to record with us. You want to introduce yourself and introduce your channel?
Hey, what's up, world? This is Marz, aka Lazy James, aka Doc Yo. Channel Lazy James at YouTube, whatever. Be here with NGG today to talk about Zelda Skyward Sword.
And we are happy to have him here with us. Alright, so we are going to talk about, I think usually 4 things is usually what my reviews are. They're always story, gameplay, controls, and our ratings. So let's get into story first. So the story of Zelda Skyward Loft is like the beginning story. So this even takes place before the first game in the series for most of us. So this is like the pre to what happened in the first Zelda game. You are in the Skyward Loft. So the people in the Skyward Loft don't even know about what they call the surface. Like, they later find out about it, but they don't even know anything about the surface. So you grew up in the Skyward Loft. You are training to become a knight for the Skyward, for the king and the princess up there in the Skyward Loft. You guys get these, you get your loft wings in the beginning, and like, each loft wing is very different, and Link's, for some reason, is a very peculiar color. Not anybody's seen that color in a bunch of years, because his is like this crimson red one, and nobody's seen that color for years. So that means that he has a specialty loft wing for some reason. And you guys are like trying to do the ceremony for him to become an officer, and that is where we start off the game. What Link training to do that. He runs into this, and I forget how to say that guy's name. I always call him Gross, but I don't think its name is Gross. I think it's...
I call him Groose.
Bruce?
But I never say anybody. I call him Groose.
To me, he's like a gross character, so I always call him Gross. So
a nice play on words. Yeah.
So you run into him, and he really doesn't like Link, only because he's jealous, I think, of the relationship between Link and Zelda. Because Zelda is always trying to help Link. He's like, in the very beginning of the story, she's like, "Wake up, Link! I'm always sending you. I'm gonna send your loft wing to wake you up, so you're on time." So she's always taking care of Link, and Gross, whatever his name is, doesn't like that because he really likes Zelda, and he like hides Link's loft wing in the very beginning of the game, and that's literally how the game starts. You're trying to like deal with bullies. Like, this game, like they weren't shy about like teaching these kids about being bullied in the very beginning of the story. I can get into a little bit more. Do you want to take over for a little bit of the story?
Well, I'm not gonna take over, but let me like come in. I'll let you go, and then I'll come in like from from the beginning. First of all, this is probably my second. I like Zelda. All my Zelda games I like because of the story. So this is my second favorite story in the Zelda franchise. Of course, Link's Awakening being my favorite story. But this is, after playing, this is my first time playing. I didn't play the Wii U.
Me neither.
So I've got familiar with this story on the Switch. I got familiar on the Switch with this story. So at the end of this game, this ended up being my favorite story in the Zelda franchise in general. But that said, with Link, like how you saying Zelda and Link, and then Groose kind of being jelly, but at the end of the game you find out he has no reason to be jelly, all this stuff. But I was kind of shocked. There's some stuff that happens, and it's like dang, they really did that to like get their point across. Like it kind of shocked me. But yeah. So going on what you said, like they just get together. Link and Zelda have a close relationship, but it's not what you think type thing. So they go on. I can't say what I want to say, so I'll let you pick it up.
All right. So after the ritual, right, is where Zelda and Link are now flying with their loft wings, and for some reason a tornado appears. and it throws Zelda, Link, and their loft wings up in the air. For some reason, Link still stays on the Skyloft. He stays on the Skyloft, but Zelda's missing now. So now, when you wake up, you're Link, and the king is like, "Where is my daughter?" And like that's where the story like starts getting to. All right, this is where the story is. So now it's up to you as Link to rescue the heroine, which is always the case in any Zelda game anybody's played. Link, for some reason, is always rescuing the princess. I think there's only one Zelda game that he hasn't, but every other Zelda game, he's rescuing the princess. And so, like, he's always 2 steps behind her. Like, he tries to find her for most of it, and he's just 2 steps behind. And that's for like that's the majority of the story. Like, let's get into controls before we get into gameplay, because that's where I had the hardest time with this game. This game was built with the Wii in mind. So it was built with the Wii in mind. So this game originally came out for the Wii, and thankfully, they gave you control options for like Pro Controller and the Joy-Cons separately. So like I started off playing with the Joy-Cons, and after an hour with that bullshit, I turned it off. I was like, no, I'm done with this bullshit. I'm just done with this bullshit. And then I went to the controls, and those were still hard to navigate, but they weren't as hard for me as the Joy-Cons. How did you play this game?
I played Joy-Cons. I can't imagine how you beat this game on sticks, because like when I went to sticks, right? Because I did do the Joy-Cons, and throughout playing the whole game, I did find the Joy-Cons to be okay. I liked it, but when I switched over to sticks, I'm like, I can't be just running around like this. It's too and then you gotta it's like too stiff for me. So it was like I like that stiffness. Like at least with the flow of the Joy-Cons is, you gotta hit Y every now and again to get back synchronized, but you have that flow going. It's like, all right, especially like in this game where you have to do things in a certain patterns and stuff with enemies. It's like, nah, I can't like get on that D-pad, because it was the D-pad, right?
I believe so.
So it was the analog. And I was like, nah, I can't. Ain't no way. It was like, it's too stiff. I was like, I need that flow versus the stiff. And I didn't find the Joy-Cons to be that bad. I will say the only part I did use non-Joy-Con mode is like kind of when I got fed up with like putting the key, like you gotta rotate that key. I was like, nah, put me on the sticks, because I can do that with the analog, and then I just jump right back off. But I played the whole game on motion controls, wow, which I found suitable. You can kind of cheese the game in some parts with motion controls.
I mean, there was definitely no cheesing it with the Pro Controller.
Yeah, you get. I agree.
I just couldn't with it. I just like that. I have footage of me where I was trying to just the first 10 minutes of the game where you're supposed to jump on the boxes, cross over. I kept falling. Like, I would jump, fall. That was me 20 minutes until I changed to the Pro Controller. And then I was like, all right, now I can do this. I just kept falling for some reason. And I don't know if... I didn't use these nice fancy new ones. I didn't want to damage them, so I used my old ones. So maybe I had drift or something on my Joy-Cons. But I couldn't imagine playing it the way you played it. And then...
To me, like the only bad, there's only a few frustrating moments, because I ain't gonna say it was like all just butter and greasy with the Joy-Cons. Like there was only a few frustrating moments where you're like, dang, this sucks that it's motion controls. Some of it was with the fighting, but for me, like the main part, the flying part, was kind of like annoying with the motion controls. And imagine like doing like boss things with that, like super frustrating. So other than that, though, I was like, yeah, I'm rocking with it. I'm not mad at it. I can see how it could be a turnoff, though. Don't get me wrong, like, because I know people that didn't even play the Wii U version. I was like, okay, I could see this being a turnoff.
Yeah, I never even opened mine, to be fair. And I don't know if it's because I knew, because at that point I wasn't really online or looking at magazines and knew that people were having a problem with it. I just for some reason, after Wind Waker, I stopped like playing Zelda. Like I used to finish every Zelda, and after Wind Waker, I didn't. So I didn't even know that was an issue. But once I heard it was an issue, and I was like, "Oh, we got Pro controller. Let's go Pro." So what you were talking about let's get into gameplay, because the first tournament, which is what I was talking about in story, is you learning how to ride your Loftwing. And oh my god, did I hate the flying mechanics in this game. I hated it all. Like I couldn't turn, I couldn't do the moves, I couldn't do any of that flying bullshit that they wanted me to do. Like whenever it was a scene where we had to do some kind of flying in to get to the next progression stage, I was like dreading it every time. I was like, can we just go on the surface, please, people? Can we just put me down? I don't want to be on this stupid Loftwing. Yeah, so those for me, like flying with the Loftwing I didn't think it was seamless. What did you think about with the Loftwing?
Yeah, that's why I guess like either sticks or motion controls, and then just flying wasn't as pleasurable as like open world as it was. Like when you fly right, it wasn't as pleasurable as it could have been. Like I could do most. I couldn't fly up, right? It's like how the heck do you fly? I'm like keep flying down, so I did, because I'm no stranger to Google. I Googled how do you fly up, and it was a common question, so it wasn't like an issue with me. It's like all up on Reddit, all up on these forums, YouTube, plenty of tutorials of how to fly up. So it's like it wasn't like something just for me. Right. So I was like, come on, man, you gotta do all this to fly up. It must have been about 30 minutes before I looked at it. I was like, how do you fly up? But I knew how to get speed and stuff. I was like, why don't you just make it like a regular airplane game? It's up, down, left, right, type thing. And you get your 3 little wing boosts. So the flying, I'm glad a lot of the game was not flying. I was like, you could just fly between and that's good enough. But there was only one issue, which was a boss fight with the flying. But outside that, you're kind of just headed to destinations, and like you can do some little side things if you want to with the flying. But yeah, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be doing a lot of flying, even though I think that's like a beautiful part of the game. It's like, so.
I mean, it was pretty, but like it was pretty annoying as well.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Because sticks or motions, you're gonna run into issues with the flying. It's just not butter. It's not smooth. It doesn't have that smoothness that some Nintendo's known to produce on the controls. And that's why, like, I think there were a few missions that were like side quest missions that required the flying, and I was just like, I guess this is one of those games we don't do side quests because I was like not with it. But when we were on the surface, I never had a problem with sticks, because so this is perfect that we're doing it, because you did with the motion controls and I did with sticks. Right, so yeah. I never had a problem swinging. Like once I learned how to do it, like it was a little bit of a learning curve. I'm not gonna say, it was butter smooth to learn how to swing your sword and do these motions. No, it's a bit of a learning curve. I don't know for sticks. I don't know about, you'll talk about the with motion controls. But once you get it, like that is like, for me, it was super nice just swinging at these monsters, taking them down. Obviously, it's not an RPG, so you don't need to kill every monster in your path. If you can get past them, they don't give you XP, so there's no reason to kill every monster on your way, unless you have to for some mission or whatever. So I like that, for me, that the fighting mechanics were smooth until the big boss. Every time we had to, and it's in the beginning of the game, so every time you have to fight that big guy in the middle, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you get to it, guys. Yeah. It progressively got worse, and then it got harder to hit him. I don't know if you had the same issues as I did with him. You didn't have no issues. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it was kind of easy. All right, look, let me say this real quick. To me, this is probably like the easiest Zelda game, and I think it's because like the motion controls, like they kind of knew like battling the motion controls themselves is a battle. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, don't make the enemy too hard. Don't make it. But now that you play sticks, that kind of puts a new challenge on it because the Wii U or the Wii U version or Wii version wasn't intended.
Yeah.
It wasn't intended that way, right? There weren't no sticks, so now you bring the sticks. That could kind of like make a challenge. But so back to what I was saying about cheesing, like with now you got the Joy-Cons that are supposed to be better, most gyro controls than the Wii, right? So you got better accuracy than from the past. Mm-hmm. Like the HD, even with the HD motion controls that they had with the Wii. Now you get to this one. Once I came across the first, that's the only one that gave me an issue. So I of course, get on YouTube, see how to beat the dude. Oh, okay. It's like that. You just kind of spam. So then after that, like every boss is that you're learning the pattern. But like I didn't find fighting anybody to be an issue. Like once you learn the pattern, you just swing. So I did when I was watching people play this though. If you got to know how to hold the Joy-Cons, that's the issue. That's the issue. So you got your Joy-Cons here, right? Give you a little example. You got your Joy-Cons. Got the Joy-Cons there. You hit your Y for your reset. Like, so to go like the Skyward move. People are going all like this. Like you don't have to do all that. That kind of messes it up. You just stay in a box with your Joy-Cons. Just go up like that. Don't do the Skyward move. Slash like that. Slash like this. Slash like that. Slash like that. You don't have to. People were like doing all this.
I think that's what I was doing.
Yeah, so you stay in this box. And that's once I found that out, you stay in your little box. You do these little minor jumps right here. You got the rest of the game. So, but that's what I think. A lot of people. But once again, that's something I saw on YouTube. Like stay in that box. Don't. Because and then one thing I didn't. Let me just go over this real quick. With the motion controls, it's like Link don't look great. Like all the other games, he's just like flailing, like running around, flailing around. Because you know what I'm saying with how the motion controls, they look clumsy as heck. I didn't like that part of it, but all in all, you can cheese it with motion. So fighting the boss and all that, you can cheese it with motions. Sticks, I can see the issue.
Yeah, I was having lots of. For every boss battle, besides learning the pattern, so I had to learn the pattern and I had to learn how to move with the sticks.
Right.
So yeah, it was a little bit hard. I guess it was harder for me then, and I can see why you're saying, because I didn't have an easy time with any boss. I know, like I was doing those big motions with the sticks, so I didn't. Well, I don't look anything up.
Yeah.
So let's get into the dungeon. So for dungeons, let's see. I had the hardest time with these dungeons, and it wasn't just like the using the sticks. It was also that some of the puzzles in this, like how you know how to solve them, I don't know. Like I don't look up anything, guys, and it was super hard. Just the first puzzle, getting into the first room with the eyes. Like if you remember the eyes that you have to. Like the eye can't see you.
Oh yeah, I do remember.
I couldn't figure out how to stop the eye from looking at me. I was there like 40 minutes trying to figure out that stupid eye, and I'm like, yo, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And like that one, I eventually looked up. And then there was another puzzle I was stuck in, and at that point I was still talking to somebody, and the guy was like, oh yeah, you got the 1 in 10 million glitch. I was like, what? Because my boxes wouldn't move. Like, you're supposed to be pushing boxes into a specific pattern, and the boxes wouldn't move. And I'm like, but the box needs to move this way. And he's like, yeah, you glitched your game. You have to restart the game itself. I was like, what? I did all of that mess to restart the game? I was so mad. I feel like they should have... Look, this game is old. This is a remake. Patch out your fudging glitches. Like, if you knew that glitch was in the Wii version, why is it over here on the Switch version? I was so mad that I had to repeat that puzzle, like the whole dungeon, until I got to that puzzle, and then hope and pray that we didn't get that glitch again. I was just so mad. I'm sorry. That was me just like venting. What did you feel about the dungeons?
This is probably the Zelda game that I looked up stuff the least. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't find it like tough, like because like some like other Zelda games. for the most part, and then I used Byee, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used everything, and I was really involved with the story, so I know I was like just super paying attention. But some of the stuff, it was just like, and then I was playing, like, I was kind of just roaming around, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like trying to just figure stuff out. Like, I was like, when I got to the desert area, I just roamed the desert, and I was doing stuff as I go, and then everything just happens to happen. So it's like I wasn't struggling there, and but I did struggle with the eye thing that you're talking about. I think I looked that up, and then I probably looked up about 4 more things throughout the whole game. But other than that, like, it goes back to what I was saying. I think it was made easier based on the motion control situation. I feel like a lot of the challenges were removed from this game, like, because I think they knew the frustration people would have with motion controls.
Right.
I mean, I know people like that played about a few hours of this game and gave up on it, not because they didn't like the game, it's purely off the motion controls. So I think they didn't want to, because let's say any other Zelda game, you can get frustrated from the puzzles, right? Normally from like all this other stuff, you're gonna get frustrated. I think they removed a lot of the frustration that's normally in a Zelda game, and I felt at ease. Like, I felt at ease playing this game. Normally, like, I'm behind the ball, like I'm asking all my Zelda friends, but I felt at ease playing this one. Like, this one was more up my alley in a way because it was easier. Like, to me, I was like, because now I don't have to deal with like these super complicated puzzles like that. I was like, I guess I could have figured that out if I had more patience. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know I wasn't going to Google it, but some of these, like in the Breath of the Wild, there's puzzles that I know I would never ever figure. I wouldn't have done it. I can't say this for Skyward Sword. I was like, yeah, I would have got that eventually if I spent 2 more hours on it.
I feel like it was reversed. The Breath of the Wild puzzles, I didn't look up any of them.
Right.
I might have looked up the one where you had to, like, just so that I could have like the one that you had to mirror the other tower. That puzzle I looked up just so that I could have the mirror image. But like, other than that, like the Zelda Breath of the Wild, I wasn't looking up this one. And you know I hate looking shit up.
Yeah, I know.
I hate
it up, that's an issue. Yeah.
I love going into my games blind and not knowing.
Yeah.
And I think I looked up maybe about a good 10 of the puzzles, and a lot of them, like a few of them were the eyes, because like once I figured out, like once I looked up one eye, then there was a whole other puzzle where the eyes were slightly different, and it required a couple more steps to do the eye, and I couldn't figure that one out either. I'm like, what's going on? I know how to do this. We've already looked at this, and it was a whole completely different way of doing it, and I was like, all right, game. I see what you're doing here. So I feel like the puzzles for me were just ever so slightly harder. I am going to say this and preference this for everybody who doesn't know me already. Puzzle games are hard for me in general. I'm not a puzzler. I am usually just a strictly RPG, turn-based. So make of that what you will when you hear my score. But like, puzzles are already hard for me. But I love all the Zelda games. So I usually like deal with the puzzles. I know the puzzles are in Zelda, right? It's one of the like the puzzles are in there, but you wanna get through the storyline and you wanna get through the game. And I just remember like thinking, once this game was done, good riddance. I was just so happy to get through it. Like, that was my that was my experience with this game. It was not like, yeah, I finally completed this great story that I didn't know nothing about. No, I was like, get this out my system. Do you have any more things else you want to talk about in the dungeon?
I will say, it's like, just from like with my friends and stuff, it feels like with the dungeons, it's like an honor to like do them without looking them up. You know, I'm not like that. I kind of just want to beat the game and get the story of it. But you know, to me, it's like I said I was using Byee, right? Mm-hmm. So every time like I would like get stuck, when you hit Byee, you get like 4 options that you can kind of ask. It's like, what do I do next? What is my objective? You know, advice. So I would use between those 4 options, I can usually figure it out. So, but I feel like that's not usually, like in the other ones, you get 1 option, is like just go north or something like this, or he said do this, do that. So that's that. But with the 4 options you get in this game, I was able to, figure things out quite well.
Yeah, I definitely use Feet, and I also use something else that I know people are gonna hate me for, right? To get my get out of jail free card. I know a lot of people were so mad that it was stuck behind an amiibo. I'm gonna get the amiibos anyway. It just gave me incentive to open it, which was like I'd get stuck and then I'd be losing all my health, and I was like, fuck it, let's go to the Skyloft, heal myself, come back. And be right where I want to be in the puzzle. So I know a lot of people did not like that it was stuck behind like their paywall, right? And I get it, right? I'm not gonna say, but I feel like it was like for me as a amiibo owner, like I never get incentives to buy them. I'm gonna buy them anyway, but I want some kind of incentive to keep buying them.
Incentives, yeah.
So I didn't mind the paywall. I know a lot of people aren't gonna be on my same team when it comes to the paywall issue, but it wasn't a part of the game originally, so it was an added feature. So why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah. It's not something that was originally in the game taken out and put on an amiibo. No, it was something that was never in the game, put as an added feature. So I don't mind that. I know other people are not going to be in the same camp. All right, so let's get into ratings. And so my ratings are always 1 lowest, 5 the best, and we've already heard that I wanted that crap out my system, and I'm sorry, guys. I love Zelda. I love Zelda, guys. I do. I just want to preface, I love Zelda. This just was not my game.
What you gonna say, man? What you gonna say?
It's a 2.5 for me. It's a 2.5. It's just like
come on.
I feel like 1 is playable and 2 is just playable enough, and it's just playable enough for me to get through it. But I wanted that shit out my system as soon as I was done with the game, guys. I'm sorry. I know Zelda fans are gonna hate me. Forgive me. I love Zelda, just not this one. Let's go, Marz. Let's see what you said it was your favorite. So, what rating do you give?
2.5, man. Come on, give it a 3. Give it a 3, man.
Not with that.
Oh, let me come back. Let me come back to your 2.5. But all right, I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm giving it a 4. The story is off the chain. Look, I'm a sucker for time travel, right? I love time travel movies. The Men in Black time travel, the X-Men time travel, Terminator. I'm a sucker for time travel. Anything. This has it in there. It's in the story.
Right.
It's like that got me in there. I was like, so that the story alone. The game. What do you think the game? Like the game looks good. What do you think about the look of the game?
That's the 2.5 because it looks pretty.
Okay, the game looks good. That's to me. I was like, it looks way better than what I thought it would look like. The music.
Oh, the music was pretty good. Yeah, the music was pretty good.
They used not auto-tune. There's like a version of auto-tune, but they used that for Fee. And when Fee sings, I love that. I was like, when you with the harp and that, like you don't actually play the chords. So I was like, the music. I love the music. I love the characters like bouncing off each other. Grooves, Link, Zelda, like kind of like down in Zelda or Link or in the beginning. I like all that. Well, my only knock is the motion controls, because there were points where they were like, dang, I don't want to play like with the flying, the first boss, just little nuances with motion controls that'll make you like, nah, man, like what is going on? But once I got past that, because I almost put the game on eBay, I got past it. I was like, and then I can enjoy it. Like when I really enjoyed it, I really enjoyed it. I'm giving it a strong 4 because, if it was just a standard like game, like don't worry about motion controls, don't worry about being sticky, just play the buttons as they are, right? We'll go ahead and it'll definitely be even better than that. But I gotta knock it on the little issues I did have with the motion controls. It's not fluid.
Yeah, I mean, like. For me, it's like it has to go low because when we both like it's Skyward Sword. our whole thing, you're in the sky, you're supposed to be flying that love wing, and nobody wants to be flying that bullshit. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that.
Like, usually I would have given this a 3, right? But I don't want to fly. The puzzles are way hard. I had to look them up. I had to go from motion control to sticks. Like, I didn't play it as intended, right? Intended, you were supposed to play motion control. I couldn't play it like that.
Okay.
So, there's a lot of things for me that, like, the story was about the only good thing it had.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to ask. So you rocking with the story, right?
The story is good. I didn't like that several bosses repeat, and I think that's also like, why am I fighting the same bosses?
Yeah.
Like
that too. When you went back to a lot of the places, I didn't care for that.
Yeah, so
like that ripping and running back and forth, I wasn't down with that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, so a lot of those things ruined my experience, and like I said, I played almost every Zelda I played, and like this was just like so far. Besides Phantom Hourglass, I think I hated too. Besides that one, and that one also had some like weird control things. I think, you know what, Zelda just needs to stay away from weird control things, and I'll be all set.
There's little gimmicks and stuff. But to me, like, I mean, then on top of that, it's like the story. Oh, it's like the origin story for people that are going to play it. So, really pay attention when you play it, and then you'll understand from here on out everything that happens with the rest of the series. Is like,
right.
It's a pretty dope story. It's a dope story.
The story is great. I'm not going to say the story wasn't great. And like the locations were nice, but it was just a lot of too much. It was just too much repeating for me. I think it was.
And the world wasn't that big either.
No,
like, wasn't that big. I thought. Like when they started to highlight certain regions, like, okay, this is just the beginning, but then it kind of didn't do much more.
You had like 3 areas, and that was it.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, 4 areas.
Like that bouncing back and forth type stuff. Like, all right, go back here. All right, head over here where you were. Hey, all right, dang. So then so with that said, if you've been there before, you're fighting the same people, right? Like, all right, okay. So that's what my strong 4. I'm not gonna give it a 5 like I normally do. I'm gonna give it a 4. Right. And those are my knocks. The controls, some of the issues with, but the strong points are super strong with me.
Okay. I mean,
4.
And I remember when we first started playing, I thought you were really gonna I thought you were gonna be the one with me with the 4 and you with the 2, because you were like, I'm selling this shit soon, and I don't know how we changed places, because I was excited about this. I was super excited when we first started talking about this game. I was happy it was coming to Switch because I'd never played it.
Yeah.
And like you were like, nah, this shit is about to go on eBay.
Yeah, I think, and we were like on the same world too at that point.
Right.
And I think, like that part in that world that got me frustrated, I got past that point, and then the game came alive.
Right, and for me, I think is where my hiccup is just like, we're just starting.
They kind of compounded.
Yeah.
Because I think you were messaging me just about certain parts of the game, like where you were like puzzly type areas and stuff like this. So yeah.
All right. Well, so that was our review, guys. These are just our thoughts, our opinions. Yep. We're gonna let Marz give us his exit ticket.
All right. Check me out on Lazy James. Gonna be streaming there a little bit with the new game Splatoon 3 coming out, and and then find all my other socials there too. Like if you want to follow me on like Twitter, I'm on TikTok, all that stuff. It'll be linked in the description, and then but yeah, that's good for the most part.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging with us. Happy gaming, guys. Bye.